But the fall off started here, More Life. And even though I never really liked Drake's music, I could at least understand why other people liked it. But the fall off started here, in my opinion. More Life. Now this is one of the first albums Drake put out where it's completely directionless. More Life was like this attempt at redefining the album. We don't have albums anymore. We have playlists. So therefore, my album doesn't have any cohesiveness. It doesn't have any continuity. It's just a bunch of songs. 22 songs, well over an hour long. So there are songs on this album that I think are fine. Free Smoke, I think it's fine. Like Passion Fruit, I think it's fine. I think he needs to lean more in that direction. From what I remember, I think Galchester was okay. Teenage Fever was cool. It's a little creepy to listen to nowadays, especially once you do a little research into Drake and Georgia Smith, but cool. Song's called Teenage Fever. You can pretty much do the math on that. Do the science. Fake Love, I like that song. But just because I like songs on the album, the whole album has to speak for something. This is the first Drake album where I feel like he took a step back, even though I really never thought it was good. The albums before this, What a Time to Be Alive, I thought that was great. I like this album. In that time, I was really fucking with Future's music because I really like Dirty Sprite 2. I really like the Beast Mode and the 56 Night joints. If you're reading this, it's too late. This is like one of 3 albums by Drake that I like. I really only think Drake has 3 good albums. If you're reading this, it's too late. It's one of them. But of course, now today we know that this album is where Drake had the most help writing that we know of. It's Quentin Miller's writing all over this album. Party Next Door is writing all over this album. It's like, bro, who are you? Like, what do you really have to say to us? Scorpion, this is also one of the 3 Drake albums that I like. I thought Scorpion was good. When this album came out, I saw a couple Drake fans being like, they weren't really fucking with this album like that. This is actually one of Drake's better albums, in my opinion. Song Mob Ties, which of course we know somebody else wrote. Vori wrote Mob Ties. Blue Tint, 8 out of 10 is like one of Drake's best songs, in my opinion. And this is a diss song. This really doesn't get recognized as a diss record. This is a Kanye West diss record. I wasn't mad at this album either. And then the other Drake album that I said there's 3 Drake albums that I like. Take Care is the only other. Those are like the 3. Take Care, Scorpion, if you're reading this, it's too late. The others, you can remove them from hip hop history and it would not affect me in one bit. And of course, we know Take Care. This is an album where I think this is the album where Drake started to bring writers in a lot more heavy to write for him, because we know The Weeknd was heavily involved in this album. Even the aura of the album, it kind of feels like The Weeknd's mixtapes at points. Abel Tesfaye, this is The Weeknd's last name. So yeah, obviously The Weeknd, Shot For Me was very obviously a Weeknd song. Crew Love, one of the best songs on the album. To me, these are 2 songs that Weeknd had for himself that he gave to Drake. Cameras, Good Ones Go. Again, this is one of my favorite, like all my favorite songs on this album, The Weeknd is writing on them. Like Shot For Me, Crew Love, Camera's Good One Go. The Ride is probably my favorite on this album out of all of them. The Weeknd is involved there. The Practice. So The Weeknd is like writing all over this album. You've got this song, Buried Alive Interlude, which is just Kendrick Lamar. There's no Drake on that song. There are other songs I like on here too, like UGK. Making Me Proud, I hated that song. Lord Knows I thought was good, but I just really do not like Drake's verse. He's like whining about some girl and she went to the restroom, and once she goes to the restroom, he's all looking through her phone like, oh, who is she texting? It's like the most insecure shit. Like, I can't relate to stuff like that, man. Like, and that's one thing Drake fans will say, like, oh, if you don't like Drake's music, it's because you don't get chicks. You got no chicks. Sure, okay. I just don't relate, and I've never related to the things Drake says in his music. Obviously, us men, we deal with women, but Drake deals with them in a way that's foreign to me. Like, I've never once been hanging out with a chick and been like, oh, she's looking that way? Oh, grab her phone. Like, who is she texting? Who is she texting? Oh, she went to the bathroom, hide her phone. Or on one of my favorite Drake songs, Child's Play. Bounce that shit like, whoa. He's like, it's a great song, amazing hook, great beat, but it's like almost ruined. It's not ruined, but it's almost ruined by this verse where Drake is like complaining and whining that this girl took his car to go to CVS to get tampons. And then she gets back and he's like, oh, you're running up the mileage. You're running up the mileage on my car. Mileage. Okay. Shit like that I don't relate to. Again, there's dealing with women, but the way Drake relates to them and experiences them are completely foreign to me. Or there's Marvin's Room, which is the most obvious example. Drake was dating a girl. She moves on. He's hitting up her voicemail. He's like, oh, who are you with? Are you alone? Oh, the guy you're with. Oh, you love him, don't you?
Are you drunk right now?
I'm just saying you could do better.
Oh, fuck him. Do you still think about us?
Fuck that nigga that you love so bad.
I've been through shit with women, but I've never thought to do that. Or like much of the things Drake does. Or like throughout Drake's album, he has like almost like songs where he's beefing with women, or he's like airing out women, like Bria's interlude, CeCe's interlude. He's name dropping these chicks, airing out their personal business that they had going with each other. These chicks have moved on. I've never thought to do that. Maybe you relate to that. Cool. But this is the thing Drake fans say, oh, it's because you don't get chicks. That's why you get no chicks. That's why you don't listen. That's why you don't understand Drake. Okay, bro. I don't relate to chicks the same way Drake do. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of it. These 3 albums, it's not good. And these are his last 3. And then there's the Her Lost joint with 21 Savage. You guys already know how I feel about 21 Savage. When I say it's not good, I'm comparing it against Drake's own work. I'm not like comparing it, oh, you can't put everything against 36 Chambers and Rakim. And no, I'm comparing it to the stuff Drake has already dropped. None of these albums, these that I've highlighted, Certified Lover Boy, Honestly Nevermind, For All the Dogs, Her Lost. None of these albums are as good as Scorpion or Views. Views is like an album. It's one of those albums that I almost like fully because it has a lot of good songs that I like and it has great singles. It just doesn't hit the mark fully for me. Nothing Was the Same. I know a lot of people love this album. I'm just not a fan of this. But I would understand if someone said, you don't think Nothing Was the Same good? Okay, you on bullshit. Okay, I can understand. Like once we got like to Nothing Was the Same, it started feeling like he was trying to be someone else. That's when he's on, Worst Behavior song. He's spitting the Mace verse, Mace flow. He goes on The Language, which is a great song. But it's like, you take a Young Thug's flow. He does the Club Going Up on a Tuesday with McConan, but it's like McConan's song and McConan's swag. And it's like, right here is like where it started feeling like this wasn't even him. Someone is speaking vicariously through him. And that's probably a big reason I don't like this album. It doesn't feel authentic. I don't have any problem with the lyricism. I think Tuscan Leather is a good song. Started From the Bottom, which we know now I think was going to be a Diddy song or something like that. Pound Cake, I think that's a good song. I think Pound Cake is like, that will fit on his earlier albums. That's one of those Drake songs, like, why don't you do this more? But none of these albums are even on this album's level. Even though I'm not a huge fan of this album, none of these albums are even on this album's level. Even his first album, Thank Me Later. There's some classic songs on this album. And I can say that while also saying I'm not a fan of this album. Like, this album at least had an aura. The Resistance, the Fireworks. One of my favorite Drake songs is on here, if I'm not mistaken. Show Me a Good Time, produced by Kanye West. It's one of my favorite Drake songs. But I really think Thank Me Later is like the last time that Drake was really penning most of his rhymes himself. Do I think he got help writing on this? I don't know. But to me, it sounds like Drake's pen. Like he's doing like the cadences and like the this or that flow. He has these like comparison type bars. So when you compare the last 3 albums, right? The Her Loss, the For All the Dogs, Honestly Nevermind, Certified Lover Boy, to any of these, it's not comparable in terms of quality. Again, if you're one of these guys, oh, Drake, do 21, do something for me, hit the dab. Okay. We're not talking. But if you actually listen to music, for music, not, ooh, who sold this? Who sold that? Well, you said this album's not as good. Well, this album sold more than that one, so it must be good. Okay, we're not talking to you. I really think the last good album that Drake dropped was Scorpion, which is 2018. 6 years ago to 2024 right now, that's 6 years ago. And it's not like he hasn't been dropping. And then even before this one, he had the More Life joint, where I think was also not good. I think Drake fell off musically. I think he's relying super heavily on writers to keep him trendy instead of using his own pen. Drake's best work is up here. Really, if I were a Drake fan, he was most in his bag. The time I saw people most passionate about Drake was when he first came out. And they were really passionate about his songs, his lyrics, his outlook, the So Far Gone mixtape, and the Thank Me Later. He's abandoned his pen. It seems for the most part, he's relying on people to like build character. They're trying to build this character for him, and he's changing how he looks. Okay, cool. I mean, I don't know how to play this whole popularity game. What do you need to do to remain popular? So maybe he's doing the right thing. His music had more character up here. Then once we got like to Nothing Was the Same, it started feeling like he was trying to be someone else. And then the Views joint, I really like this, but there are just too many. Like to keep the singles are amazing. You know, in terms of rap album, I don't know if are many rap albums with better singles. Controller, One Dance, there's the Hotline Bling, massive hits. But then there are just a lot of duds on here for me. 9, Keep the Family, like Feel No Ways is one of my favorite Drake songs, by the way. But 9, You With Me, like some of these songs I don't even remember. Like Still Here is cool. I thought it was cool. Like maybe I need to give it another chance. But I could see Views. I could see me like a year from now or so, or years from now, I go back, Views. Okay, I like that one. That's okay. We'll say 4 Drake albums that I like. But it's just I remember the first time hearing it. There's a lot of duds on here for me. Like it starts off very slow. Then it picks up. Feel No Ways, Hype, Western Road Flows. All good. Redemption. I remember liking this song. But like the songs like here, like I don't know about these. There's Pop Style, which had so much potential, but it's just a garbage verse. Got so many chains, call me Chaining Tatum. Like the beat and everything was set up for Pop Style to be an awesome song. And it's just absolute garbage on the verses. So it's stuff like that keeps me from really loving Views. All right, so you gotta remember, there are people among us who are 20, 21, 22 years old. They don't know hip hop without Drake. They don't know what hip hop looks like without Drake. You gotta think Drake became popular in 2009, 2010, 2024 as I record this video. If you were born like in 2002, 2003, 2004, you're about 20-ish years old right now. By the time you got of age to even understand what's going on in the music you're listening to, Drake is already one of the most popular rappers in the world. So there are people among us, these are not kids, these are 20, 21, 22 years old, graduated from college, in the workforce, in the military. These are grown adults who don't know hip hop without Drake and who don't go back to listen to older hip hop albums. I mean, there's very few of us who do that. I went back, I listened to The Chronic, I listened to 36 Chambers, I listened to Texture Nation of Millions, I listened to these albums, which are way before my time. People are really not inclined to do that, even though it's easier to do that today more than ever, right? So I'll say that to say this. Why do I say Drake fell off? No, it doesn't have anything to do with the Kendrick Lamar beef. I think Drake has been on a sharp downturn for about 4 years now. 2020 with the Dark Lane demo tapes album. This is really the last album that I listened to by Drake. Not say listen to, I listen to everything, right? But for me to say I listen to an album, I try to get at least 2 or 3 listens in. That way I actually understand the album, I understand what's going on, I have like somewhat of a grip on the album. So the last album I really listened to was Dark Lane demo tapes. But the fall off for me really happened here, More Life. Now, this conversation is not for the teeny boppers. Again, I'm not ageist, but it's not for the teeny boppers who listen to the 21 Savage Drake album. They're like, oh, 21, come do something for me. Oh, you don't know. He didn't fall off. 21, do something. Okay, we're not talking to you. Leave. Get out of here. Go. We're not talking to you. Okay? This is for people who listen to music, who at least try to understand music. You know, I'm not saying I'm the most knowledgeable out there, but I try. The fall off happened here. And keep in mind, I never liked Drake's music. I was never, ever a fan of Drake. You can go back on top5rapwebsite.com, look at my archives, look at my oldest videos. The first time I heard Drake was probably like in 2009. This was definitely before his first album, way before his first album. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a parody. I didn't even know who I was listening to. My friend showed me this song. I thought I was listening to like a parody song that I was supposed to laugh at. You know how Weird Al Yankovic does these, you know, song parodies. If I'm not mistaken, Drake was rapping over someone else's beat, which was common back then. Mixtape era, you rap over other people's beats. I thought he was showing me like a parody song, but he's like, no, this is Drake. This is a dude from Degrassi. I was like, I didn't watch Degrassi, so I don't even know who he's referencing when he says the dude from Degrassi. So that was my start with Drake. The first time I heard him rap for real, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was, you know, a parody, satire. Never been a fan of dude's albums, ever. Again, this has nothing to do with Kendrick. I heard of Drake way before I heard of Kendrick. Never liked Drake's music. Never really liked Lil Wayne's music like that. They aligned with each other. I don't like the entire group. This is how it was. That's my opinion. That's why I think Drake fell off. I know y'all thought I was gonna come in here and talk about Kendrick. I thought Drake was falling off before this. He's long stopped sounding like himself. He sounds like a bunch of people. He sounds like a bunch of other people. And I think it's very evident in his raps, at least to me, someone who really tries to listen, you know, lyrics and listen to, you know, how dudes flow in cadence. It's like, bro, who are you? Who are you really? Like, whose thoughts are we getting? Are we getting your thoughts or these four niggas in the writing room thoughts? But anyways, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Top5rapwebsite.com. Peace.